Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 134 of NerdPod Generations. As always, I am one of your illustrious hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the lovely Al Judson. Hello, sir.
Hello, friends and enemies.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, we're back again. We're here.
It's been a week.
It's been a week.
Oh,
my Lord.
It's a beautiful day, though.
It's glorious. We're going to see tomorrow during Eclipse Day if that ends up actually being a fucking thing or not.
The fact that there's not a cloud in the sky right now, if it's cloudy tomorrow, that would just be the ultimate Rochester FU to everything.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting patiently because that's what's going to happen.
Dude, let me tell you, all at work this week, and for folks who don't know, I work at a grocery store called Wegmans. For those of you who are listening, not from Rochester or upstate New York, it's like the mecca of grocery stores.
It's not just a grocery store.
We were not a grocery store this week. We were a museum.
Yeah.
Because people from out of town, and you could see like groups, and then you had the one person from Rochester who was the tour guide, and they're all looking and pointing, and I'm like, should I put on a hat and do a dance?
Monkey.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I'm like, oh, this is okay. Mm-hmm. There were people from Alaska, like people all over the place.
No, they apparently like 500,000 people are coming into town, only to find out tomorrow that there's like a 30-70 split.
Yeah.
That it's going to be cloudy.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Welcome to Rochester.
Can't wait.
Well, I mean, at least they're getting a beautiful day today because it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I actually did a lot of yard work today, which made me happy.
Go check out Highland Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the Lilac Festival.
Yes.
Before it gets crazy.
Which, man, that's getting close. I still can't believe how fast time is flying.
Yeah, I hate it.
Like,
it's
my
April.
son now is 1 month away from turning 9.
That sucks.
Which
I mean,
is
it's great.
nuts.
Congratulations.
No, that
but
sucks.
yeah.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
So, folks, for those of you who are listening, obviously this is NerdPod Generations 134, meaning there's 133 back catalog episodes. Find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Make sure to let other people know about us. Make sure to like and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to us. And then make sure to go to youtube.com to where Al has been uploading segments from recent shows. And he has done some post shows, some of the older ones. But we are busy, so we don't have a lot of the older ones. Mainly some of the highlights, like our Obi-Wan shows.
We're working on it. I got to do if I have time this week, I'm going to audit old shows to find out which ones have DC segments. And that's going to be the next thing that I'm going to try and get up.
Gotcha.
Is all the DC animated segments
Which
that we've
those are
done.
good segments.
Exactly.
Really
those are some of our high hitters. So
yeah.
I want to get those on YouTube, but I have to go back and figure out which ones they all came from.
But if you do check us out on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe also. And then, in the comments, you can let us know certain things you want us to talk about during the podcast, or let us know what you think of the videos. Because, once again, you don't see us, you just see our awesome logo. But you do get to hear us, and there are some older videos that we have up there that do show our lovely faces.
If you do want to see what we look like,
I don't know why you would want to. But
I don't either. Frankly, I don't get it.
I mean, that artwork is the best thing that ever happened to us.
It's the best thing that we have right now for us. We don't need to have our faces. No. It's to the point where if we ever got to a point where we could do like a Comic-Con live show, I might still come out with the Spider-Man mask on. Yeah. Because it would still be more appropriate.
And I remembered my tangent.
Yeah, there it is.
We're going to start the show off. We love tangents.
We were talking about streaming services not selling things.
This has nothing to do with any of that, which blows my mind. So we are going to get into our first topic, which is what are we watching, playing, reading. But I got to let you know, thanks to a good friend of mine, I've kind of gotten into vintage posters.
Oh, fun.
And it's vintage movie posters. He, for Christmas, had got me Star Trek 5, 6, and Nemesis. And they're all first-rate. And the Star Trek 6 one was the promotional one before the actual movie poster, where it has General Chang's face looking up at the end. It's awesome. Oh. And I love the kind of distress look to older posters because they were folded.
Yeah.
But in the frames, they look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have gone on
a little bit of a bender,
a certain site where you can bet on, or not bet on things, but
bid on
things.
And Steve, I don't know. Have I ever heard of this site? If you look around my house right now,
eBay might have. I don't know. eBay might have.
Maybe.
eBay might have. I found Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock and 4: The Voyage Home, and super vintage, a little more than I probably should have spent, but they look like I'm waiting for them to come in the mail, and I can't wait. I actually have them hanging in our bedroom because there's really nowhere else in our house, and luckily, since my wife and I don't spend a lot of time in the bedroom, she's like, yeah, you can put stuff up there on the walls. I don't care. I'm like, nice.
There you
go.
So
I sleep with General Chang's face right next to my head, and it's awesome.
Give him a little smooch before you go to bed.
A little smooch. All right, folks, there's our tangent. I got to move on to quick to what have we been watching, playing, reading. And I figure you will start off this week because I started off the last couple weeks.
I have a laundry list. I've been busy. So first and foremost, a little continued shout out to our YouTube channel. I have been streaming Spider-Man 2 the game. Oh. I've gone back to streaming that, so I streamed it a few times this week, a few nights this week. So those episodes, streams, whatever you want to call them, they're on YouTube. And it's not like a commentary or anything. It's just my genuine reaction and the story of the game. So you kind of get to watch and play along with me. Nice. It's a fun little thing. So if you ever want to check that out, I'm going to continue to do it. I'm about halfway through the game, which of course means that I'm already at level 50. And I've done most of the side quests. And the only way that I'm halfway through the game is in the sense that I've only played through like the first 10 missions of the game.
I got you.
And so there's still plenty of game left to go. But beyond that, I've been a busy little bee. I did want to bring up Dark City. I watched Dark City. That's an interesting one.
Such an underrated movie.
It's an interesting one for a few reasons. One, for me, it is cinematic NyQuil. I fell asleep. 3 times in this movie. Not in the same sitting. Watched it, fell asleep. Tried to watch it again, fell asleep. Tried to watch it a third time, had to stand up and walk around my living room so I didn't fall asleep again. But I made it through Dark City. I did it. I like it in concept. It's very breakneck. It does not spend any time kind of luxuriating in anything. There's almost no establishing shots in the entire thing. There's no room for breathing with any of the characters. Everything is just bam, 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 bam. So it's a lot, but it is a good movie. It's a good neo-noir. I already knew the ending before I watched it, so it wasn't like a big thing to find out.
And I think that's the thing I liked about it is it was a genre's original thing where it's a sci-fi noir. Yeah. Which you don't see a lot of those. I mean, other than like Blade Runner. Yeah. You don't really get too many of those.
They don't give you any answers on anything. No. Absolutely no answers. So that can be a little maddening at times, where you have this whole storyline of this guy that can bend reality, and you're just like, and why is that a thing? Because everybody is freaked out that it's a thing, and they never talk about why he can do it. It's just not part of the plot, even though it's an intrinsic part of the plot. And but it's not what they're focused on. I did want to throw out there the interesting note that I get it, it's a noir, but the fact that there are no female characters besides Jennifer Connelly and a bunch of prostitutes that are killed. I know it's from the 90s, I know. But, like, even so, there was a moment of, like, man, this is just dudes. Yeah. This is just dudes. There's women in the background. You see them walking around town, but this is just dudes.
And as much as I like the movie, I really don't like Kiefer Sutherland's character.
His accent, his mannerism, weird, whatever he's doing, his affectation, it's a lot. And Rufus Sewell, he's just like running through this script as fast as an off-brand Jude Law can. Yeah. And you have Bill Hurt shows up with an accordion, and you're like, okay, this is interesting. We don't spend any time on that. No, not at all. And you have like the cops in this world, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. We're not going to spend any time on that. I'm saying it like it's a bad movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's a little dated considering it's not that old. Dated,
especially the special effects.
Yeah. Considering it's not that old, it's a little dated. Yeah. And not in that, like, oh, you can tell that The Matrix came out last year. But, like, the way that the film is made and produced is a little dated. And what they focus on. And so it is just a little, it was very interesting. Usually I expect that out of a movie from the 50s or the 60s or the 70s. But to see it in a movie.
Think about it, though. It's 98. So in reality, it's almost 30 years old, which is, I know it seems like it hasn't been that old.
I was thinking about that.
Years old.
I was thinking about that in the context of when I was a kid. If you had said that something was 50 years old, it would be from the 40s. And now, if you say something's 50 years old, it's from the 70s. Yeah. And that's crazy to me.
Well, when Star Wars came out, to say, oh, well, let's compare it to a movie from 1950. You're like, holy shit. Yeah. And that's kind of what it is now with Dark City. You're like, okay.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, different time, different style. So I wanted to touch on that. And then yesterday, Kelly treated me to a wonderful day of all movies all the time.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to talk about Roadhouse, which is one of the ones that we watched yesterday. I only want to touch on it really quickly. The last movie that we watched was Monkey Man from Dev Patel.
Oh, how was that?
So we went out to the Pittsford Cinema.
You went to the new one.
It's so good. We need to go there next time we go to a watch and review.
Okay.
We absolutely have to go there because it is so good, and the tickets are about as reasonably priced as they are anywhere else. Excellent experience.
What is the setup like in the theater?
It's only like 3 or 4 rows
Okay.
of seats, and then you have this swivel table that kind of like comes in and out, so you can put your drinks and stuff on it. And the seats don't recline all the way, but the feet rest come up,
Okay.
so you can kind of sit back. And it's just it's a wonderful theater experience. You order everything online. You don't have like a waiter or anything. They bring out stuff to you, but you just like scan a QR code and you order that way. It's really good.
Is it distracting during the movie if people coming in and out with delivering things?
No more so than usual.
Okay.
And it's only usually for like the first 20 or 30 minutes of the movie that you'll have anything coming in and out. So it's not that bad. But the movie itself is also incredible. Absolutely incredible. It is going to be the It movie of this year. In the same way that Everything Everywhere All at Once was the It movie, this is going to be the It movie.
So it fixed your Green Knight issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Dev Patel wrote and directed.
Okay.
Amazing script, amazing story, very well done. It doesn't hold your hand, I will say. There are a lot of elements of Indian culture that you have to know coming in. You don't get lost because you're still like, okay, I understand what's going on. But there's so much more to understand if you do any digging into it. So, like, they don't talk about the caste system in India, but you can definitely see it. They don't talk about this one religious order that plays a huge part in the second act of the movie, but you get an understanding of who they are and what they believe in and where they come from and why they're ostracized by the people around them. It's a really good movie. It's paced out very interestingly where it drops you right into the action, and it gives you that kind of quick hitters where you're like, I think I know what's happening, but it's more me kind of picking up on hints than being told anything.
Okay.
And it's just a really fascinating movie. It's really, really good, extremely well directed. The visuals are so cool and so well done. And it's just like there's moments where you're like, I don't know if this takes place in the past or in the modern age. You do. It takes place in the modern age, obviously, if you watch the movie. But there's just moments in it where you're like, man, this could take place at any time. And I was so impressed. It's an A++. Nice. It's so good.
That's awesome.
So Monkey Man, go out and see it. It's well worth it. Subtitles might be something you wanna have. This is definitely going to be something that we're going to buy to watch at home for many reasons, including for me anyway. I need some subtitles for some of the scenes because there's subtitles in some scenes but not in others. But even actors like Shalter Copley, who plays a wrestling promoter, his accent is so thick that there were a lot of moments where I was like, sure, whatever he said.
I love him. I wish he would be put in more films. Like I've always right from District 9 I've liked him. And even what's that god awful Chappie, which he played Chappie. I thought he was
in the A-Team. I remember him.
He was awesome as Mad Dog Murdoch in the A-Team. And Elysium, he was great as the big bad.
Yeah.
But like he's always been really good, and you don't see him enough.
No, it's true. And he always plays like the kind of weirdo on the periphery. Have you ever seen Hardcore Henry?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Same with that.
Very
I'll never get over
movie.
him showing up on the bus, being lit on fire and thrown out of the bus, and you're just like, what the fuck?
A lot of that movie is what the fuck.
Oh yeah. But the other one that I wanted to touch on, and the one that we started the day with, was Wish. Wish is now...
We watched that as well.
Yes, so you can join in on this conversation. Wish is now available on Disney+.
Yep.
And
finally, that's another one like Godzilla -1 where you're like, why the hell did it take so long?
Yeah.
Not only to get on Disney+, it wasn't available to rent, where it wasn't like, oh, rent it for $20.
Well, it did. It had a little bit of infamy attached to it for a little bit. Disney wanted to let the fires cool down before they invited more people to set fires to it. Because when it came out, it was not terribly well received.
No.
And I can kind of see why.
Yeah, it's a little... like, the songs are not good. I think that was the thing
Songs are not good. That's a big problem, is that you can tell when you have a Broadway lyricist
Yeah.
or when you have a pop song lyricist.
Yes.
and this is very clearly pop song lyricist coming in writing pop songs that are supposed to sound like Disney Broadway songs, but they are definitely not.
Not at all.
You would never hear any of these songs in a Broadway setting.
Like to go from Encanto to this, you're like, oh, okay, I get.
Maybe the Revolution song, but only after the entire chorus joins in. That was a good song that gave me goosebumps. I was like, this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
But every other song, I was like, this is just nothing. This is just a flat out amount of nothing. The Star song where they were trying to explain why the star is the way that it made no sense.
It made no sense.
It was like they were hinting and like, but did you get it? And I'm like, I've never encountered science in a Disney movie before, so you're gonna have to bear with me when your answer is we're all made out of stardust, but you won't say that. You won't say it, but you'll heavily imply it over and over again. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, this is so a left turn from what I was expecting, especially in a movie that is fed 100% on nostalgia.
Oh, absolutely.
There is no story to this movie.
No. I mean, like, even the end credits are like the
older
characters.
The end credits, I think, are a perfect microcosm of the entire movie, because you get through the credits. For anybody who hasn't seen it, over the credits, since this is the 100th anniversary of Disney as a studio, not necessarily the 100th film, but the 100th anniversary of a studio, this is the big, like, oh, it's all of the Disney things. So the entire movie is Disney references, just the entire thing. And then at the very end, they go for 3, where they have, like, the castle, and then they have the Mickey ears that are specifically drawn on. And then you have the book closing, but it's a CGI book. And me and Kelly are both looking at each other like, why the fuck would you go to the bother of doing this if you're not going to do a real book? I don't understand that. And then over the credits themselves, they have images from every Disney movie in ascending order. And there weren't all of them. And some of them, you're like, okay, you don't want to do 3 caballeros. We can have a conversation about that. That's fine. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you over that. Both Rescuer movies are dropped, fully dropped, not referenced in any way. They have Barnyard. They have Bolt. They have so many things here, and I'm like,
people don't give a shit.
So these guys made it.
Yeah,
these guys made it. But everybody that, if you were in a sequel or a movie that doesn't have a cult following, like, I knew you weren't going to do Black Cauldron. We all knew you weren't going to do Black Cauldron. We were taking bets on whether you were going to do Black Cauldron. Of course you weren't going to do it, because you're cowards. You're total fucking cowards. But the Rescuers and the Rescuers Down Under, you're going to cut all of that shit? Seriously?
Bob Newhart
Seriously?
dirty, man.
And I was just blown away. But that is the entire film. They have an idea, a concept. The concept is very clear. It's not hard to understand what they are doing. But then they make this decision that is so tragically flawed to fully undo entire sections of what they've been building. When they start the movie, they're like, oh, it's a fantasy thing, right? It's a sorcerer and all these people, and you can grant wishes. And then they shrink down. They're like, on this island in the Mediterranean. Don't listen. You can imply in Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty that it takes place in Europe, right? I don't care that Tiana takes place in New Orleans, because that makes fucking sense within the context of everything that happens. Don't tell me that this is some island in the Mediterranean, because that's going to reframe all the context for everything that happens from here on out. Because all I'm going to be thinking is, so, like, what's happening with the plague and everything? Like, what's going on with everything else? Because, you know, that area, highly traveled, kind of had a lot of things happen in the Mediterranean. So if you're going to set it there, you need to have a good reason. And it doesn't make sense with the story that you're telling to have it take place on Earth. No one told you to do that. No one told you had to do that, but you did it. You went ahead and you did it. I don't fucking get it. I don't understand why you would do that, but sure. If you want to say that Snow White specifically is in Germany, I don't think you need to do that, but I guess you can. And so this movie does it. It's like, no, it takes place here. And then it has this whole magic arc. And then at the left turn, it's like, oh no, but science is also really important and real, and we also have to talk about it.
No, there was...
Okay.
It was... And that's the thing, is it wasn't... I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. Like, my kids loved it. That's kind of what you're aiming for. It just... Like you said, it didn't really have it. It really wasn't a movie. It was like... Just a long one-shot.
It was like if you had 2-minute YouTube videos and you had like 30 of them.
Yeah.
And they told a story if you watched all 30 of them, but they were kind of like these segmented 2-minute clips. That's kind of the feeling I had, where it's like, okay, so this is the Beauty and the Beast one, and this is the Cinderella one, and this is the Snow White one, and this is the other Snow White one, and this is the third Snow White one. But that was kind of it. Here's a Lion King shot. Did you see it the first time? Because here it is again. And it just all over and over and over and over and over again. I didn't mind the plot, but there wasn't a plot.
There wasn't.
Exactly. There was no plot to speak of. No. To the point where the villain is turned into a mirror, and all the people are like, "Oh, he always loved mirrors." I'm like, did he? Was that a part of it? Because I didn't get. He had mirrors, but like I don't know that he ever had a moment where he was like
like when he got manic at the end and he put his face on the castle in multiple places.
Yeah.
That wasn't mirrors.
That was windows and shit.
That was windows.
And so I was just like, does he? He has the one magic door that's a mirror.
Yes.
And in his song, he has a lot of mirrored versions of himself singing. That song sucked.
I love Chris Pine, but that song
sucked.
That song sucked.
I love Ariana DeBose. Her songs weren't good either.
No, they weren't
Why
good.
is she a tour leader? When we meet her, why is she a tour leader?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Why are we doing this? What is this? What is it? So this takes place in the Dark Ages, I have to assume by the clothes that everybody's wearing, in the Mediterranean, but you have a tour guide? What the fuck? What the fuck? But what the fuck? Weird. And then you had the issue of like, I love the conceit of let's take every style of animation we've ever had and we're going to fold them all into one movie. I love it in concept. The execution on it left a lot to be desired.
Absolutely.
There were a lot of moments where things had a weirdly heavy toon shade line around things, and then other moments where that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I compare it to everything dovetailing together. You know, you want to have everything kind of settle together and close properly, like that roof that they kept on struggling to open over and over again. Which again,
that was the most frustrating.
Another scene where I'm just like, God,
just jump off the fucking ledge. I know what you're gonna do. Just fucking do it.
But you want everything to kind of fold in together, and there were a lot of moments where there's just the one flap that's not quite right, that in the airplane check flap light is going off, and you're just like, it's not quite there. It doesn't quite coalesce. Is it bad? It's not terrible. It's not good. I would give it like a C-. I kept on getting distracted by how Asha, the main character, she has these braids. I kept on getting distracted by the fact that they would flow up and down in one unified look and never move. Never move anywhere besides on this one shoulder. Didn't matter what she was doing, whether she was running or riding a horse or doing something. They would just flow up and down in one singular motion. And I was just like, what is happening?
No, it was odd. And it was so blatant that star, they're like, oh, dude, that's our plushie.
Oh, it was...
Kelly, I've never seen something that's more of a plushie in my entire life.
Kelly was like, are you ready for merch? And I was like, are you ready for merch number 2? We already have one. And
what's the one?
The goat.
Oh, yeah, the talking goat. Which, the whole talking animal thing, that
I
was
thought
weird. They could have
weird.
played that off more than they did. It was kind of a second thought where everyone's like, all right, animals are talking, okay.
Yeah. Again, it was this weird lack of world building.
Yeah,
and
great.
I know that for Kelly, I love Alan Tudyk. We love Alan Tudyk. His voice choices made us crazy. Like, you know, he came in with like half a dozen versions of this voice to do for them. I don't know why they chose this one. It made us crazy the whole time. Anytime he talked, we were like, I fucking hate his voice. I fucking hate it. And just... lost opportunities, missed chances, and once again, a message instead of anything of actual merit.
Yeah. For me, I'm going to continue my MCU.
Oh, wonderful. How did that man go?
Well, first, before I say that, going off of the Star Wars thing, or Star Trek thing, I watched Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock, which I have not seen in a while. It's fucking so great and cheesy. I love it. All right, so...
Chris Lloyd in that still blows my mind.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so awesome in it. So I went... We were going to watch Ant-Man because we're starting the post Age of Ultron. Ethan wasn't really into watching it. We're going to watch it tonight because I don't say anything about this. He really wants to watch Spider-Man. And I told him, you can't watch Spider-Man until we watch Civil War, and we can't watch Civil War until we watch Ant-Man. So if you want to watch it, we have to watch Ant-Man. And I think you'll like Ant-Man because it's silly.
It's fun.
So
it's made for his age.
He goes, I don't want to watch Ant-Man, but I want to watch a Marvel movie. I said, well, the only two...
You want to watch Guardians 2?
Guardians 2 or Doctor Strange are the only two that are not directly connected. So we watch Guardians 2. Really don't like that movie.
It's a trash pile.
It's a trash pile. And my takeaway from it was cinematically, you had one of the greatest missed opportunities. Because not only did you have Tango and Cash in the same movie, but then you also had Stallone and Michael Rooker, who were...
Over the top, right?
No, not over the top. Cliffhanger, which is one of my favorite action movies. You have these guys in this movie. You have Stallone and Rooker in one scene together, and you do not have Stallone and Kurt Russell. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, that's the biggest missed opportunity, is Kurt Russell. Because I liked Kurt Russell a lot, and they completely fucked it up.
His script was so bad. Like, Ego the Living Planet is not a layup character.
No.
There's a lot of weird things going on with Ego the Living Planet. He's Ego the Living Planet.
Yes.
Of course it's going to get fucking weird. The way that they did him was so unsatisfying on every level.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody like Kurt Russell who could give a great performance in that role.
And he gave a great performance for what
they gave him.
Yeah.
But they gave him nothing to work with.
Dog shit.
Everything for me comes back down to those two scenes. Catch. And he's having the moment over killing his mother, killing Star-Lord's mother, and he turns into David Hasselhoff. And I'm just like...
Yeah. You don't need to do that.
You can't do it, can you?
You
can't do it. You can't have an actual pathos-driven moment in this fucking thing. You have to have everything be a fucking joke.
It's got to be goofy.
And everything with the Sovereign was stupid,
so
pointless,
dumb.
and it sets up, quote unquote, sets up Adam Warlock, which now we see what that is.
Yeah, we know
it means
that's
nothing.
A bigger joke.
It means nothing.
But like the part where the leader of the Sovereign shows up on the Ravager planet to offer the job to Yondu, the whole long drawn out them bringing out the path for her to walk on, and then it got stuck.
It gets stuck. It gets folded.
That scene was so infuriatingly long and not funny that I was like, Jesus Christ, I forgot about it. I forgot how bad that was.
That's how I feel about every Drax and Mantis.
Yeah. I mean, we know that's bad.
It's so bad.
That's still as bad as you remember.
It's so awful.
Yeah.
But it's like so much worse if you know the canon.
Yeah.
Because you take these two badass characters and you make them children.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But it's the part, once again, I go back to this. Like, they lay out in that scene between Yondu and Stallone's character how much Stallone, like, the whole reason Yondu got kicked out of the Ravagers is because he went against their code by dealing with children, and you never deal with children, and you could tell that Stallone really hated Ego because he knows what happened to those kids, and it's like, there you go, you have Sylvester Stallone that can go fucking join the fight against Ego and make it into this big Ravager versus Ego thing, instead of just the Guardians of the Galaxy and Yondu fighting the living planet. You could have had the entire Ravager fleet and have that interaction between Kurt Russell and Sylvester Stallone that every fucking fan of any 80s action movie wanted. Because it's like, even Chris Pratt, I remember when he was doing press for it, he goes, we have Tango and Cash in this movie. And it's like, yes, you do. And you're not going to put them in a scene together. It's like watching episode 7 again, and you don't have a scene with Han, Luke, and Leia in one fucking scene together. Yeah. It's like, why put them in the movie if you're not going to have them interact?
If you're not going to actually, if you're going to tempt us with this nostalgia bait,
yes,
why aren't you actually going to do anything with it?
And then when you actually do set them up, when you actually have it set up where one of them dislikes the other one, like, Ego probably doesn't know who Stallone's character is, but Stallone, or he might, you never know. You set it up, and then you do fucking nothing with it.
Well, and isn't Stallone Vance Astro?
Yes.
That's major victory. He is a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He is the leader of the original first Guardians of the Galaxy, which we see because they bring in Charlie 27 and Martin X and Yondu is part of that.
What do they do with that?
Nothing
after that.
Fucking nothing. So you have the table set. You can do something with this, and you see only the opportunity to make jokes the entire way through. Everything is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And this is why I hate Marvel.
And that was the thing, is the one scene that wasn't a joke was that scene between Yondu and Stallone. And it was so well done. Like, it was some of the best acting I've seen Stallone do it forever. But it was serious, and it was dark, and it's like, where's more of that?
Yeah.
Like, not everything has to be so fucking, like, that's why I love Peacemaker. I love Slither. I have a lot of James Gunn love for some of his past movies. I'm terrified for Superman. Because it's like, you can have a lighter tone. Like you watch Superman the movie, the original. It has its lighter moments, but that movie's serious as fucking cancer. Like, it's got some serious moments in it.
Yeah.
And it's got some really dark moments in it. And it's like, I don't know if he can do that.
Well, I'm waiting for the 10-minute bit about getting a cat out of a tree. Because James Gunn is going to do a whole bit about doing cats and trees with Superman. But this is my thing, is that welcome to my boat. Here, have some cookies. I have a million things that I can point to that make me be like, I don't know, guys.
I'm so nervous.
I don't think this is going to work. And Peacemaker, for how much I liked it, still had some serious problems. You can have a great scene where they reference Matter Eater Lad. I'm so excited. That's great. There were a lot of touch and go things about the plot where I was just like, what is going on? What's happening? Why is this a thing? And, it was Peacemaker, so you don't take it seriously. Now he's going to do the entire universe. Yeah. You can't have the whole universe be a joke. Yeah. Unless your entire thing is going to be Batmite.
And, I mean, I talk up Peacemaker a lot. Take Vigilante out. Yeah. That show goes down quite a bit. They just happen to have created one of my favorite characters in any live action superhero anything. Yeah. So it's like that kind of coats it in a nice little sheen.
And there's elements of that I really like. I like that his dad has this pocket dimension with no explanation.
Yes.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Excellent. But just a lot of the stuff with the butterflies and stuff, I was just like, I'm not fully sure I'm getting what you're doing here.
Like I didn't really get the whole alien thing.
Yeah, I know you're doing something, and I know you think you're being really clear on what you're doing. I'm not sure that I'm fully understanding.
It almost seemed like their version of a Skrull type thing, where they're taking
body
over.
Snatcher kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you have the good one and the bad one.
Exactly.
And,
I'm a good one, but I took over a bad person, so I have his bad impulses.
Exactly. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But so. We're gonna watch Ant-Man tonight, so I'll let you guys know. I mean, listen, I know my son's gonna love it because it is goofy. Yeah, he'll laugh his ass off.
He'll laugh at Louise. He'll love Louise.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'll be honest. I kind of like Louise, but I think he'll laugh at even the fight at the end on the train.
Yeah. With Thomas. Yeah.
So I think he'll like it, but I'll have to check in next week to let you know what the reaction is.
Don't prepare for anything serious because everything's going to be kneecapped to hell.
Oh yeah.
As much as I enjoy the concept of that last fight, the way that they just fully take the drama out over and over and over again for jokes. Where you have Yellow Jacket on the tracks, and he's watching as Thomas is about to run him over, and he's like, "Argh!" And then it cuts to the wide, and it means nothing. And
it's not. And what sucks about watching this phase is I'm not looking forward to seeing any of them over until I get to Infinity War, and that's the sad thing. It's like rewatching the Star Wars movies. I'm like, I just want to get to like Jedi or something that I like. And I have to sit through ones that I don't like. And I'm that way right now. I'm like, we got to watch Ant-Man. Then we got to watch Civil War. We got to watch Doctor Strange. Which Doctor Strange I like it better than some of the other ones.
Doctor Strange, my issue is a matter of pacing. The issue is that movie should take place beginning in 2008. So the events of the car crash and everything take place simultaneously to Tony being kidnapped and everything. And then the end with Dormammu still takes place in 2016. So he's training for all this time and working and putting in all this effort. And, you have all these other events and maybe they're in the background in some way. But, like, it's about his growth in learning to accept this power.
I wonder if they had it already planned out for that part in Endgame when the Hulk goes to meet the
Ancient One.
The Ancient One. Because it's during the battle in New York.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they already had that plan, saying this is the timeline, so he has... Because she said Doctor Strange hasn't even...
I still think that's stupid.
Oh, no, I think it's dumb. But I'm wondering if that's why they did the timeline.
And you can still have the Ancient One be alive in 2012.
Yeah.
And it's just that the Ancient One dies in, 2014. And so Stephen Strange is, trying to become the Sorcerer Supreme for, the last few years, and... There's ways to do it that are more interesting than saying, oh yeah, Stephen Strange has a photographic memory. So he never needs to worry about learning anything. He reads it once and he knows it. Well, that's boring as hell. That's dumb as
super
fucking shit. That's so fucking dumb. Way to make it so I don't care.
Yeah. And quick shout out, speaking of Marvel, before we move on, it has been officially announced that Galactus is the villain of Fantastic Four. I'm just curious on how they're going to fuck it up.
Well, the internet's all a storm over Storm.
Well, see, the problem is they announced the casting of
the Silver Surfer.
But it's not the Silver Surfer. It's his wife,
Shayla Bell.
Which they are still going to have the actual Silver Surfer.
Good.
But they didn't come out with that. And it's like...
Well, and they said that Julia Garner was going to be the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, which I think... I don't know if they just put out a bad press release.
Well, so this is what I was talking to Kelly about yesterday while we're on it, is... I don't necessarily have a problem with changing the Silver Surfer's gender. I think that the Silver Surfer as a gender non-conforming character would work really, really well. Mm. My issue is that you're basically using rage as a promotional material, where you're going to do something that you must know people are going to have some kind of strong feelings about. You're inviting animus just for the sake of clicks, and what does it do? Because you already have other characters that are already female that are like the Silver Surfer that would be better suited for this kind of thing.
And I think I do have a problem with them, because she is a character in the MCU, or not MCU, in Marvel. So it's like, it's not like they're creating a character, but create the actual canon Silver Surfer first.
Yeah.
And then introduce her in like a sequel.
Yeah.
But you have female characters that you are constantly fucking up.
Yeah.
How about you do them right first?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's like you can introduce this character. I have no problem with that. But how about you do it in the canon of the comics in the right way? And then it's like, because, the one thing about the second Fantastic Four movie, the OG ones in the 90s, is I really did like how they did the Silver Surfer in the second one. As far as like look and tone and all that, it was a shitty movie, but they did
the Lawrence Fishburne Silver Surfer, right?
Yeah, the
Doug Jones
Silver Surfer. Like physically, they did, and I think CGI wise, they did a good job with it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why couldn't you have done this in the introduction of Galactus, and then obviously these characters, unless you do the Marvel thing and you kill them off in one fucking movie, they'll be in another movie. Then you can introduce the wife character in the first movie, but then have her like maybe at the end get the powers where they're side by side. It's like, why? It's like you're saying, why are you trying to sell them? Like, once again, it just seems to me like you're trying to take this message and just jamming it down people. It's like, you don't have to.
They corner us being the two of us and people that are like us into these positions where it's like, well, now I don't want to have to argue against casting a woman in this role because that's not my point. But like, now you're making me side with these idiots on the internet because I want something authentic. And instead you're turning it into either a faux message, which isn't authentic. It's just a unearnest, time consuming, here's the lesson. Or you're trying to get bait on the internet.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, if we do this, it's going to get so many clicks, so many things. So everybody's going to care. Everybody's going to be talking about it. And it's
unnecessary.
It's the IHOB.
Yeah.
It's International House of Burgers. It's like,
and there was, I can't remember the actor's name. There's an African-American actor who was up for the role of Silver Surfer, and he thought he was going to be the Silver Surfer, and he saw this press release, and he's like, guess it's not me.
Well, that's what I don't understand, is like, there still seems to be some element to me in this of, oopsie doopsie, we didn't mean to say she was going to be the Silver Surfer, but look at all the traffic we got by saying she was going to be the Silver Surfer. And it's like, you totally knew. You 100% knew the whole fucking time what you were doing. And this isn't damage control or anything. This is, you put out bait, and now you're reeling in.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all this is.
It's like, once again, it's take your actual canonical female characters and
do them well.
Fucking write them better.
Do any single one of them well.
Yeah.
Because I can go down the list and tell you every single one of them has been done badly in one way or another.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the biggest drop ball they have was not having Mighty Thor and Valkyrie as a movie of just the two of them.
Get
would
rid
have
of
been
Chris Hemsworth.
fucking awesome. That would have been $1 billion movie.
We don't need Chris Hemsworth coming back from the Guardians. He can be part of the Guardians for as long as he fucking wants. And we don't need a training montage of Thor getting back into shape, because even though that was the joke in the last one, was that Chris Hemsworth didn't want to be in crazy shape for Thor anymore.
Yeah.
We gotta put a fat suit on him.
You could have had Jane, like, pissed off that he ran off with the Guardians, and once again, he's out of her life, and she finds out she has cancer, and then Mjolnir comes to her, and then Valkyrie shows up saying, since she's on Earth in New Asgard, saying, there was this... Somehow I knew that you got this, or something.
Or like she knows, like Jane knows to go to New Asgard when Mjolnir, chooses her. She's like, I guess I got to go where they know what to do with this and learn from them. But also, then you have the reveal that it's not just Jane turning to us in the middle of the third act and being like, "Oh yeah, the hammer's the only thing that's making it so my cancer's at bay." It's like a whole reveal, and her learning that while she has these superpowers and she can do these great things, it's also something where if she ever gives it up, she's going to die.
Yeah.
So even if she doesn't want to do it, or if she's not comfortable with it, or it's like a bad fitting shoe, she has to keep working at it, because otherwise she's going to fucking die.
And it's like you had an opportunity.
It was all there, man.
And you fucked it.
Everybody loves Valkyrie. Everybody loves Natalie Portman. Everybody was super psyched to see Mighty Thor. And once again, like so many other opportunities, like the fucking Wasp, like Echo, like Captain Marvel, like Miss Marvel, just another punt.
Yep.
Just another punt, and we're not going to do it. And it's just, why the fuck? Well, then what's the point of this?
But yeah, so I'm waiting to see how they turn Galactus into a cloud for a second time or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to move on.
Or they make it like I saw recently, I don't know the full context, but Marvel released a trailer for a game that they are coming out with, and it's a Overwatch type game.
Oh, okay.
And you can fill in the blanks. But at the end, they reveal Galactus, but Galactus looks like a Japanese schoolgirl. And I'm just like, and this is because, like, I don't mind Galactus being a woman. It's the fact that you made her an objectively sexy schoolgirl. That's the part that I'm struggling with.
Well, there's people that just don't give a shit.
No,
they just
exactly.
want to make money.